My name is Ron Banks. I'm the Regional Director for the Joe Foss Institute. And we're here this morning to recognize an individual that has created a wonderful artwork that actually depicts General Joe Foss when he was a young boy in South Dakota. But before we do that, I just want to thank Jim, Fort Worth Aviation Museum, for hosting our gathering. Thank you very much. We think it's appropriate with the connection of all the aviation with General Joe Foss and the museum and what we want to try to do here this morning. We had hoped that General Foss's granddaughter, Misty Panzino, would be here. Misty actually lives in Azle with her family and was very close to Joe Foss as her grandfather, but she had some family issues come up and was not able to attend. But on behalf of the Foss family, I want to thank Don Collins, the artist, for his time and energy and all he's put into donating this artwork to the Foss family. We appreciate that very much. And in a few minutes, we'd like for Don to share with you a little bit about his background as a veteran, a historian, an artist. It's really quite amazing. But as I said, this picture was generated from General Foss's autobiography, A Proud American, of his growing up in South Dakota as a young boy in the late 1930s. And Don can explain a little bit more about his motivation and what inspired him to create this particular piece of artwork. But on behalf of the Foss family, I would like to read a letter from Connie Foss, General Foss's daughter, who lives in Scottsdale, Arizona, and was very close to General Foss. Connie regrets that she's not here at this time, but wanted to share her thoughts to you, Don. So on behalf of the Foss family and Connie, I'll read this letter. December 2015, dear Mr. Collins, the painting you did of Papa on the windmill gives me goosebumps. I never dreamed that a painting could affect me so emotionally. I never tired of hearing him tell about the windmill. Those times meant a lot to him and he never forgot them. Your painting portrays him perfectly. Thank you for that legacy. I'm not certain where the original will hang, but I would like to have a print made for my own home. My home is like a shrine to Papa. Thank you on so many levels, not the least of which is your military service, followed closely by your interest in Papa's life, so beautifully expressed in your artwork. I would like very much to meet you sometime. I'm occasionally in Texas to visit my daughter and her family. Very sincerely, Connie Foss.
Very nice.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you.
Also, Don has graciously donated to the museum here at Fort Worth Aviation Museum a rendering of the artwork.
It's great.
And you indicated that you could frame it.
Yes. We know how to do that.
You know how to do that. All right.
Thank you, Ron. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Don. You're welcome.
So, Don, would you like to share a little bit about
Yeah,
your background?
there's not much to say, but I've had a lifelong interest in aviation. Thought I would be an aviator. Was thwarted by a corporal with a stethoscope over in Carsville. I'd quit college I'd taken the flight cadet exam and passed it with flying colors. And they sent me, this was in 1951 at the outbreak of the Korean War. And so they said there are too many people down at Lackland. You'll have to go home and herd the cows for several months until we call you. And they did call me periodically. I'd take a physical, I'd take another test, and I passed them all. So on the final day, I went over and this kid, corporal with a stethoscope, told me I had a heart murmur, and they turned me down. So it was at 19 or 20, that was the low point of my existence, you know. So I went downtown and saw my doctor and discovered I'm fine, no problem, they just got too many people. So now my draft number is up the next day, and I wind up enlisting in the Army because they assure you that if you have an RA number, you're going to be much better treated than if you're a draftee, which turned out to be, shall we say, a little stretch of the truth there. And I finally wound up in an outfit in Oklahoma, shipping horses and mules to the Turkish Army. That's what I did for 3 years, which is far cry from flying, which I had my interest in aviation because I had 4 aviators in the family. My cherished oldest brother was a B-24 pilot, flew 70 or 80 missions in the Pacific, and he had 3 sons. They're all combat aviators of one kind or another. So I've maintained an interest in aviation ever since then. And 20 years ago, I joined a thing called the Air Force Art Association, which is illustrators. The Air Force recruits them on short notice to take trips somewhere, something of interest to the Air Force. And you record it, you take pictures, you come back home and you paint a painting, and you give it to the Air Force. The Air Force has a collection close to 6,000 paintings of their various activities over the last number of years. So I maintained that and went to all sorts of fascinating places on the Air Force's budget. And as far as the Joe Foss thing goes, Ron told me about it. Steve connected with me first. And I knew about Joe Foss when I was 14 years old. I was following the war in the Pacific very closely, and was deeply interested in that part of the world. Of course, Joe Foss was in all the headlines after he shot down 25 or 30 Japanese. And so I was aware of him from an early age, but when they approached me, I read his biography and autobiography, and I knew that he had himself depicted in combat hundreds of times. I've even seen some when I went to the annual gatherings of the Art Association in D.C. They have pictures, and some of them depicted him. So I read the thing, and on page 8 of his book, he said when he was 4 years old, he climbed a windmill, and his parents got him down there, and he got in serious trouble. But he said thereafter, it was his refuge and his quiet place, and he would go up there to play the saxophone and do his homework for years. And said occasionally, or frequently, he said, I think, the Daily Mail plane would fly by, and open cockpit plane, and they would exchange waves. So that's what I decided that would be a little different and more interesting than yet another depiction of him in combat. So that was the root of the whole thing. So that's basically the whole story. That's how this came to be. And I had a great time researching this. And that's a Boeing B-40, by the way. It's accurate, and even the windmill is accurate. Made in Lubbock, Texas. So,
Hmm.
I guess that's about it on the entire thing, so thank you very much.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Don.
it.